Hi everybody, it's Morgana Galaxia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I want to take a look at Mark Meadows, and I also want to take a look at Mike Pence. So Mark Meadows first. I just want to know if the cards can tell us anything about why he started cooperating and then stopped. If they're going to subpoena him, will the subpoena be approved by the wider House? And what's his book? What's the difference between his book, what he put in his book, and what he might testify to? How much did he know? Just what is up with Mark Meadows? And that's what I want to take a look at today. So I already shuffled the cards because I've been having so much trouble lately. But yeah, I want to get into his, get in his energy, find out what's going on with this guy. So I don't think it's too much of a stretch to say that, he was in the office, he was in the room to witness the ugliest of Trump's behavior. I'm sure that, during the ending time in his administration when everybody was reporting how erratic he was, how angry he was, how he just wasn't making sense, just the delusional nature, all the delusions that he was having, all the lying, just the baseness, right? Just the ugliness of it. Everyone in his circle has been talking about it, spilling the beans on it, and I'm sure Mark Meadows was right there in the thick of it. So, knowing what he must know about Trump, is he still really a believer? Okay, so I've already done the shuffling. I want to take a look at Mark Meadows and this January 6th commission, any subpoenas, whatever the cards can tell us here. Okay, so let's bring it on down. Mark Meadows. Just going to do a little modified Celtic cross. All right. Let's see. I guess I should bring them in a little this way so you guys can see, but regardless. Okay, so we're going to start out with the Four of Cups here. And this is, telling us that Mark Meadows is at a spot now where he's got, he's between a rock and a hard place. He's got some decisions to make and no good options, whether to cooperate or not cooperate. Is he going to get subpoenaed and tossed in jail? Should he cooperate and get Trump's ire? I mean, just some hard decisions to make with some really bad options. And so he's got to take some time to really think about it and make his choice. Okay. What's challenging him is justice. So this is the commission wanting to know what happened on January 6th, who was responsible, who funded it, who knew what, did Trump know, blah, blah, blah. Justice in the form of the January 6th commission is his foe at this time. And the fact that that commission is representing as justice means that they are, it's a valid investigation. There is an injustice there that they need to right. There is substance there, that it's not a sham committee, that it's not a big old hoax. They are taking the form of justice here because that is necessary, and that is Mark Meadows' challenge. I'll bring you back up. So what is above him in the sky? What is it that he's inevitably going to bump up into? Judgment. So if this is just regarding the subpoena, this would tell me, yes, they will subpoena him, and he will either need to respond or he'll have to go through that legal process. But in a larger sense, this is a major arcana card. Big, like capital J judgment is a part of his life story right now. And, this also really has a tie into the legal the judicial part of justice. Excuse me. Telling us that at some point, yes, he's going to be in a court, okay, court of law. Maybe that is the commission, although they're technically not a court. They're not a judge, but they do in a way perform that function. So it's either the commission or a different court of law, maybe battling with the subpoena. Since they are challenging him, this is a challenge there. Yeah, so, you know, it's hard to nail things down, of course, but if this is him deciding not to continue to cooperate, then they're going to come after, they're going to make they're going to make a judgment against him and call him to communicate, or a judge is going to have to make that determination. Okay, what's below them? What is foundational to Mark Meadows' situation right now is the King of Wands. So with the King of Wands, who is this going to be? Because I don't think it's Trump. Trump wouldn't be Wands. What's foundational, what he can't get away from, I think is just this, it's the authority that he's finally bumped up against. It's the, let me try and say what I'm trying to say here. The bad behavior could only go on for so long. At some point, inevitably, justice was going to come knocking. There are good forces out there in the government and in politics who are going through the process of uncovering what happened on January 6th, right? That's what the commission is all about. But there are a plethora of people who are doing this work. And I think this card is pointing to someone in a leadership position. So I don't know quite who it is. Maybe it's the chair. Was it Benny Thomas or Benny Johnson? Maybe it's somebody else, but there's somebody in a leadership position who is doing a lot of work here, So maybe I'll let that kind of sink in a little bit. Okay, we're moving on to what's in the past. We have the Three of Cups. So what's in the past is that there's been a lot of celebration, a lot of assistance. Just one moment. So with the Three of Cups, I think this is pointing to the information that's already been given to the January 6th Commission. They've had a lot of people in there already testifying, giving depositions, and Mark Meadows has been named, you guys. There have been enough people in there who've given their information already, who've spilled the cups, who've been cooperating with each other or with the commission, and they've been spilling the beans, and Mark Meadows in the middle of it all, you guys. So this is part of the reason, obviously, they're calling him in. But I guess, why did he begin to cooperate and now he doesn't want to cooperate anymore? Well, he cooperated when he just gave him basic information, right? Low-level stuff. Here's some emails. Here's some information that, I know I'm sort of legally required to give you. Here, I'll give you what I can. But once it came a little too close, that's when kind of he shut down. In other words, I think there are people who gave the commission information. Now they're digging a little deeper. They want a little more specific information. They want answers to questions from Mark Meadows. So he tried to bail. All right, then. No longer cooperating. Now he's risking a subpoena. And he's going to get slapped with it if he doesn't appear. Justice and judgment are both there for him. In his upcoming future, what is he going to be facing very soon? We have the Seven of Swords here. And you guys, this is a theft card. This is the card of trying to get away with something. You know, trying to take some evidence and documents with you. Yeah, you left a little bit behind, but you're grabbing what you can, and you're you know, fleeing, trying to lie, steal, cheat, trying to get away with something. So that is what Mark Meadows is going to be facing. So yeah, this is telling me that they're getting a little too close. Heat's a little too hot. He stopped, you know, ceasing to cooperate, but the commission is going to subpoena him. He's going to fight it. They're going to end up in court, and the judgment will be made. And at that point, he's going to try and get away with something. That's what I'm seeing from Mark Meadows. All right. So I also want to look at Pence, Mike Pence, because I guess the commission is trying to talk to his former chief of staff, and that former chief of staff is cooperating. I know there's a bunch of stories out there about it right now. I'm not sure how much Pence himself is cooperating or if they've called him in yet. But yeah, I want to look at Pence, Mike Pence, and his staff, and how it's going to be a commission. All right, I'm going to pause this so I can shuffle this. Just one sec. All right, everybody. So Mike Pence and his chief of staff. So going into his energy, the way I feel about it is that there were threats, that what they want to ask Pence about, and Pence's staff, is about threats that Trump might have made, direct threats against him, not just the people during the insurrection screaming, hang Mike Pence, not them, but from Trump world, right? Direct threats made to Pence. I also think I'm getting that they want to ask him about what he saw on the floor at the time of the insurrection. How did the GOP around him behave? Was anybody assisting anybody? Did anybody look happy about it? Was everybody terrified? You know, what was going on around him? What did he see? I think that's a big part of it as well, as far as participation in the insurrection. So the feeling I get with Mike Pence is that it's all about God's will, okay? So, you know, he's supposed to be such a God-fearing man. How could he have been Trump's VP all those years? Because the man is so craven. Not to mention, you know, unethical, irreligious. You know, he's just horrible in every way that someone who had real religious values would find him abhorrent. And yet he stood behind him blank-faced, taking all kinds of abuse and flack, and just pathetic acquiescence to it all. And I feel like it was because Mike Pence had this agenda, for example, anti-abortion, right? Bring down Roe versus Wade. He has this agenda. So if being Trump's VP was God's will, he was going to do it, no matter what a personal pain it was on him. You know, you have to suffer to do God's will, and God wanted him to be the VP and to get this, you know, religious agenda pushed through. So he did what he had to do for God, right? And by the same token, though, if God sees fit to bring Trump down, if God sees fit to have this commission, you know, arrest him or whatever, then that's God's will as well. And Pence isn't going to necessarily fight that. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting there, like whatever God wants to have happen, happens, and he's going to support that, whether it's Trump's rise or Trump's fall. So my feeling, my intuition on this is that he would cooperate because he's doing God's will that's manifesting at that moment. So I have a feeling that he would cooperate and his staff would cooperate. And, you know, it doesn't take much of a psychologist to tell, well, yeah, when you're threatened, you know, if your life's in danger, you're not gonna bend over backwards, right, to help out your abuser. So I think that's definitely a part of the psychology there. Okay, so I shuffled already for Pence. I want to take a look at Pence, this insurrection, cooperation, whatever the cards can tell us here. So I'll bring you down for the spread. Pence, Mike Pence. All right. Okay. So we're starting off here. Mike Pence. Here's the Hierophant card. So Mike feels that he is a part of the government. The Hierophant can either be the government or the church, you guys, but it's establishment. It's hierarchy. It's power. It's authority. Like the church wills authority. Like government wills authority. Big power. Definitely, there's this religious element to it. It's dogma, and this is what he's all about. This is telling us, yes, he is extremely dogmatic. He sees himself with such rectitude and stoicism and doing God's will. Yeah, he's a big believer. He's a big believer, and he thinks that he was put in place for God. That's what God wanted, and that's the function he performed. But what comes with this card is a lot of pride, right? A lot of righteousness. And that is part of what is going to make him be able to, I don't want to say turn on Trump, but to testify, to give witness, right? It's like he feels guided. He feels guided. He's super dogmatic. It's all about religion. He's, holding himself up to his own perceived higher standard. So I think this is why he couldn't bear to bring himself to overturn the election, because as much as he looked for a way to do it, he even called Dan Quayle, right? He couldn't rationalize it. In the end, he couldn't rationalize it, and he just couldn't go through with it. That's this stoic rectitude that he sits in. That's how he feels about himself. That's the energy that he puts out there. That's why when you see him standing in front of the camera behind Trump or whatever, it's like deadpan, right? No expression, nothing. He doesn't give anything away, because it's almost like he feels like he's the Pope and he can't, he must be stoic and firm and resolute at all times. He's just not going to let anything in. So anyways, his challenge is temperance. So temperance is about moderation. It's about patience and balance and moderation. This is his challenge because, you guys, he's a zealot. He's a fanatic, all right? He, once he's in that stoic frame of mind where he thinks he knows God's will, nothing can bend him, nothing can change his mind. He is not able to balance ideas, balance different perspectives, balance the needs of different kinds of people, balance the rights of different kinds of groups, right? Balance his belief system with whatever, rationality or compassion, whatever. He is not able to be balanced in that manner. It's pointing to his struggles with fanaticism. All right, what's above him? What can he not escape from? What is coming inevitably is the Magician. So, there's going to be, what he's going to be coming up against are people trying to manipulate him. just encircling him with different kinds of manipulation. I feel like when they finally subpoena him and call him forward, right, there's just going to be a ton of people coming at him. You can't do it because of that, this or that. Just trying to, sway him, get him to not come in, to disrespect the commission. They're going to try and manipulate him and make Mike do what they want, whether it's testify or not testify. I'm going with not testify here. They would not want him to participate or to cooperate. So there's going to be a lot of wizards around him trying to control him. So what's foundational to this question is the Wheel of Fortune. And that is foundational. So in one aspect, this tells me that the Wheel of Fortune is the wheel of karma, and that this whole situation is karmic for Mike Pence. This is a part of his life path. This is a part of what he was meant to do here in this life. So this is a big deal. It also indicates a change of fortune. So, if things weren't going so good, they'll turn around and come up. If you're, sitting at the top of the wheel, then it's time for you to come down the wheel. So Mike Pence's fortunes are going to be changing, and that is absolutely foundational to this whole situation. So he should expect big karmic change in his life. What is his recent past? We have the World card. So yeah, huge ending for him, right? Just the ending of his administration with Trump, but more so the ending of that relationship. The severing of communication and cooperation with Trump as well. He's keeping his distance. That whole administration, once it ended, he tried to move on. He tried to create a new beginning. He has things he's trying to do, career-wise and so forth. So yeah, he's gone through a huge cycle ending and a new beginning. And also, it's televised. It happened on the world stage. We all know about it. And also there's an element of joy in this card, which means that he was ready and happy when that last cycle ended, and he's optimistic about where he might go in the future. In his upcoming future, he has the King of Pentacles. The King of Pentacles. So I would say that this is a big opportunity for him. There's going to be some person that is going to offer him some sort of opportunity, something that definitely has to deal with money, continue to build his wealth. I don't know whether it's investments or, getting him to run. Usually when you're vice president, you don't run for any other office aside from president. It's almost like being demoted, right? To go back into like the Senate or something like that, or a governorship. But, there's going to be some kind of financial opportunity for Mike Pence. So whether it's politics or media or something in the church that's going to be lucrative, he's looking for some opportunity to make some money. So, I'm really asking here about the commission. So basically what I'm getting here is that, we're dealing with a religious fanatic with this guy. And as much as that is damaging, it's also might be the key that allows him to come in and to cooperate and to do his part, because as long as he thinks that's what God wants him to do. So it's up to these magicians that are going to be coming into his orbit. that are going to be trying to control him with their wiles and their ways. You know, it'd be interesting to see when you're dealing with a religious fanatic like that, you really can control them with that kind of magic. You know, if they see it as some sort of God's plan, you got them. But if they cotton on and they think, you know, you're being the devil, you won't get them. So it's interesting to see how that's going to pan out for him. But I don't see anything here that tells me that he's not going to cooperate or that he's going to have any legal jeopardy, that he's going to be subpoenaed or anything like that. So I would gather to say that he's going to cooperate with the commission. There will be people trying to stop him from doing that, and they'll use ideology to try and control him. So we'll see. We'll check on it again as things progress, but I wouldn't be surprised if Mike Pence and his staff cooperated with the commission, maybe as quietly and as down low as possible, but as long as he thinks it's the right thing to do, he'll do it, okay? All right, you guys, that's going to be it for me today. I am so happy that you visited me. I keep forgetting, but visit me online at morganagalaxia.com. I do personal readings if you're interested, or follow me on Twitter. I do every other day, I do a card for the United States and post about it there. Otherwise, take care, you guys. I'll see you in a couple days, okay? Bye.